Frank Visser. I mean, well known in the Wilber community, I think, is the one who's always trying to harass Wilber with criticism and spoil his party and so on. In the past, I was a huge fan. I think I did my share of Wilber promotion. I wrote a book, I created a website, I created the Wilber meetups. And over the past, say, 6 or 7 years, I've distanced myself more and more from what I see as a kind of integral circus. Very good at promoting a view, even a lifestyle, using the sales language and the political slogans that go with that, but that's definitely not my game. I'm still a huge fan, and I'm also a huge antagonist. That goes well with me. I think both are useful. He has said so many things about so many subjects that it's time now, I think, to start giving it a second reading, close reading. Just every sentence has to be earned. That's my thing, and then see, if it holds true. And it might be true. Might very well be true. But it should be demonstrated. The reader, of course, is a layperson in all the fields he touches. We are no match. So when you read it and we read his fluent style of writing, then you buy what he says and you enjoy it because, hey, finally somebody figures it out. But when you go back to it, as I said before, and then try to ask specialists, do you agree with this? Is it postmodernism? Is it biology? Is it political science? They come up with different opinions, different interpretations of the sources which Wilber uses. And then something happens, it freezes. It is like Wilber says, hey, you're not qualified to criticize because you are of a lower stage. Can you believe it? This is in no scientific debate will you find this. And that's unfortunate because science or philosophy that grows by debate and by listening to critics, even inviting those who disagree, not only those who agree. That's a bit the culture in the integral world, like, hey, we agree with each other. It's a kind of hall of mirrors, like integral confirms integral confirms integral, which is a good feeling, but listen to the people who don't agree with integral. That's interesting. I represent about 70 authors on my website, all amateurs, but they come up with interesting stuff. They could be wrong. But as long as there's no full academic debate about Wilber, this is second best, and it's enjoying to read. I mean, it's especially what I want to read. So probably I created my own literature now. Who knows where it goes? Many people have said to me, Frank, leave the man alone. Do something nice with your life. But this is nice for me. I mean, he is a thankful subject. Is that an expression? There's so much to analyze. His output is so big. And there's also so much that screams out for analysis and criticism and validation. And the level of abstraction is sometimes so high that you need to come down to the details and see if it holds true. And sometimes it doesn't, of course, because it's human. I know there are now initiatives like in the JFK University to give courses, and there's an upcoming conference on integral theory, and that's fine. It's a little bit late because, Wilber has been active for 25 years. But next conferences will be more critical, I believe, I hope. We'll invite more of people who disagree. For example, I would prefer to see Wilber write on integral biology, where he says, okay, there's Darwin, and we have Richard Dawkins, and then we have Stephen Jay Gould, and he says something else, and well, everybody is right, so how can we figure this out? I'd rather see that than say, okay, biology, that's the upper right quadrant. End of discussion. And that's a classification game that is very popular at integral.
That he's obsessed with.
Toying with theories and seeing where they fit, instead of going into the field and listening to what's the discussion. And critics have said, like Jeff Meyerhoff on my website says, Wilber overestimates the amount of consensus in a field. And when he thinks he picks the majority position, he actually picks a minority position, for example. And this makes a lot of difference, of course, because integral is fine if you say, I integrate everything that matters. But if what you integrate perhaps does not matter. Not to mention another critic who said, you can integrate all the fantasies you want, but it doesn't bring you truth. I mean, we've been busy for, or I've been busy like quarter of a century with Wilber. He has been busy for a decade with his institute. Where is the result? Where are the books or the essays about Iraq or about climate, global warming, or the Middle East? I mean, the world cries out for this. And what I see from a distance is that Wilber deserves limited time to all this stuff. And like I said, half an hour on Integral Naked. And then it's great fun to watch. But the world will not listen to that. Things are so complex. I would love to see him just spend time on that and cut the socializing and the endless, I call this celebrity and I call that celebrity, and I talk them into integral. And in the end we agree so much. Why? Disagree. That brings the clash and the insight and also the qualification. Like if Wilber says A and somebody says B, Wilber could say, well, perhaps it's not in all cases A. That's a qualification, that's refinement. Instead of saying, I can dismiss you because you're green, or you're not qualified, or you're in a performative contradiction, or whatever. You are a bad critic. That's basically his theme. You have good ones and bad ones. No, I'm joking, because of course there are good critics. There are like Mark Edwards, he's a guy on my website who is all in favor of Wilber, who even tries to be more integral than Wilber by correcting integral theory, but making it more integral, if that's possible. And there is a question, does Wilber equal integral? A theme on the conference. I would agree. Yeah, people would expect me to say, no, there are other people who are integral, and we have Aurobindo, and we have... yes, that's true. But Wilber is the foremost current productive one with the most influence and the most relevance to problems of today. All the more reason to criticize him, I would say. All the more reason to have a close reading of his work instead of letting him get away with anything he says. So that's the double attitude I have. Because I value his program, like his ideas, there is every reason to follow that closely and to just not be impressed by any authority argument or games he plays. Like we had a couple of years a real problematic exchange on the internet, and he really tried to silence his critics, and I replied with a piece that said games bandits play. Because he's playing this game. He's playing the game that he has figured it out and everybody else is stupid. Literally. And that's a sorry position, I believe, because things are too complex for that. It could be another game to say, okay, let's include the critics and see what happens. It's another game. And my game. A play can be like a tennis match, can be life and death. But it's still a game. And you really try to beat the opponent. And you love the opponent for trying to beat you. That's the game. And then the game is over and somebody wins. And that's the agreement that you should go to the utmost, I believe. Yeah, it's a man's game. We fight with theories. Now what's your take on it?